Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you my April TBR, or also my OWLS TBR. So if you haven't heard about the OWLS, it's called the Magical Read-a-thon, I think. Oh, sorry, fan. It is called the Magical Read-a-thon, I believe. It's hosted by G over at Book Roast. This is her third year doing it. So each April, she hosts the OWLS, which are the ordinary wizarding levels. So it's all based around Harry Potter. So you create a TBR based on the career that you want to be once you graduate from Hogwarts. And then you take those classes and you have to read the books associated with the prompts for those classes in order to pass your OWLS. And then in August, you do the newts, and then whatever career you're sticking with, it'll tell you which ones you need to read based on the classes you took before. So right now it's just you have to pass these classes. Once you get into newts, then it's like you need an outstanding or an exceeds expectations, like all that stuff. It'll be broken down even more. G has put in so much work into this readathon. It's one of the most popular readathons on BookTube. It is huge. She created this booklet full of careers, and she added more this year. It is so extensive. I will link her announcement video down below if you want to check it out. This is my first time participating, but I thought it'd be fun since we're all kind of quarantined anyways. Well, most of us. I'm not. I still have to go to work, but I'm going to try. I decided to pick the role of librarian, or career of librarian, which has five OWLS I have to pass. So 5 classes I have to pass. And it was very hard to pick my TBR because some of these prompts are tough. And I chose my career based on not wanting certain classes because they were hard to fill, but I did get stuck with Transfiguration, which is a very hard prompt. And I am going to end up reading a book that I'm not really that excited about just to fulfill the prompt, but I'll get to that in a minute. I went a little further than I had to, and I picked out books for all of the other classes. Just in case, my main priority is to get the main 5 read for the career that I've chosen. And then whatever's left, I'm going to pick from the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I believe there's 12. Okay, I lied. There's 12. So there's 12 classes. So, I mean, you can do a variety. There's some careers where you have to read 7 or all 12. It just depends. Like, and those are the really upper, like, harder. And for some people, it's really easy to read 12 books in a month. That's a lot for me. I usually read on the average between 4 and 6, depending. This month I've read 5, and I've started another one. So we'll talk about the book that I'm currently reading in case I don't finish it, which I should. I'm currently reading This House is Haunted by John Boyne. I'm buddy reading this with Vicky at chapter 32. I mentioned in my library haul that if she wanted to read it, to reach out to me and we'll buddy read it together. She did immediately and was like, yes, I want to read that. It's on my TBR. So her husband bought her an ebook version of it for her birthday, which I believe today or yesterday was her birthday. And so she's got it on ebook. I have it, the library book, so we're going to do it by chapters, not by pages. I think we're doing 5 chapters a day. I already read today's 5 chapters, which just happened to be 50 pages. This is a story that takes place in the 1860s in London, and in the UK in general. It starts in London. But from what I've read and from what I've read about it, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek horror story, ghost story, where there actually is paranormal activity, unlike The Turn of the Screw and stuff like that. But it kind of pokes a tongue-in-cheek fun of Turn of the Screw, Rebecca, stuff like that, which should be pretty entertaining. I know everything I've read, most people have liked it. It's not, I guess it's written in a, kind of like Charles Dickens wrote his books, so it's kind of in a Victorian way, the way it's written. I'm excited to read it. The 50 pages I've read are pretty good. The first 50 pages, our main protagonist, Eliza, has left London and is now going to Norfolk to meet the children and go to the house to be the governess. So, I mean, it's already kind of got the premise of The Turn of the Screw, but from what I understand, it's very different. So we're buddy reading this. I'm only showing you this just in case we don't finish it by the end of the month. It is currently the 27th, so we have like 4 or 5 days to go. The way this book is broken down, I think it's only like 290 something pages, and breaking it down by chapters, we can very easily finish it on the last day of the month if we stay on task. I still have to work, but 5 chapters a day isn't hard for me, and Vicky's at home, so it shouldn't be hard for us to finish this by the end of the month. But just in case we happen to miss a day, I'm putting this on there, but hopefully this will be finished by the end of March. Oh, hey, yeah. So I just realized after filming my April TBR that I forgot to mention a buddy read. I'm doing a buddy read with Vicky. April is a buddy read month for us. We are buddy reading Gilded Needles by Michael McDowell. I didn't put this for any of the prompts. I might switch it out for one of the ones I've already picked, but maybe like, I don't know, we'll see, or I'll just tie it in depending on how much I end up reading this month, but this is definitely getting read. Vicky and I have our buddy reads planned out all the way through the end of the year, and Gilded Needles by Michael McDowell is what we will be reading in April. Sorry I forgot to mention it. I was literally just messaging her about our John Boyne buddy read we're doing right now, and I was like, shit, I forgot to mention our buddy read for April. But yes, Michael McDowell is one of our favorite authors. We both read The Elementals and loved it, and Cold Moon Over Babylon. I went and bought all of his other books on Kindle. She managed to find a hard copy, so we're going to try to, I think we're going to break it down by chapters since we're both reading on different devices. But yes, Gilded Needles by Michael McDowell will be read in the month of April. Buddy read with Vicky. I am a total idiot for forgetting. Okay, so now for the rest. So like I said, I'm going to go for the career of librarian, so I have to take Ancient Runes. I'm going to look at my tablet. I have it all written down on my notes. Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, History of Magic, and Transfiguration. So I have to take all 5 of those. So first on the list, which I have these backwards, is Ancient Runes, which you have to read a book with a heart on the cover. In her description, she'll say Ancient Runes, and then she'll have something like Hogwarts related, like the topic you're talking about, and then the prompt. I just wrote down the prompts. If you, like I said, I'll link her announcement video down below if you want to go into the details, but she's very, very thorough. It's insane how much work she's put into this. But Heart on the Cover was very hard for me to find in my own TBR, and I was going through my library books that I got and stuff too, and I happened to find one, and that's The Crier's War by Nina Varela, which I talked about this in my library haul, but this is gonna be really hard to see, but there, okay, without the ring light, maybe? Come on. Okay, right there. There's a heart, like right there. Oh my God, that's, yeah. So like I said in my library haul, this is a fantasy, YA fantasy story that takes place like sometime, not in the future, it's a fantasy world, where there is 2 girls. It's a sapphic romance. One is a human, one is an autome, and the automes were made to service the humans and to service the royalty and the higher echelons of society, but they became, well, they are like humans. They're not robots, because Cody read this and she says they're not robots. They are humans. They're just modified. They took over the world and overthrew the humans, so now they're in charge, so the roles have been flipped. It sounds interesting. Cody only gave it 3 stars. She said that it was okay, but not anything great. But it sounded interesting, so hopefully it does better for me. But this is for the prompt of Ancient Runes, so this will probably be the first one I pick up. I don't know if I'm going to go in order, because, I mean, you just have to read them in the month, and that's what's great about this read-a-thon. It's all month long, so you have all month to read all these books, and it's not hard to read 5 books in a month if you put your mind to it. And the rate I've been reading lately with audiobooks and stuff, it hasn't been that bad. So this is the first one. And then next is Arithmancy. And so Arithmancy is read something outside of your genre. So for that, which I haven't even hauled this yet, I planned on filming a book haul before this went up, but I didn't because of time constraints, and I need to get my April TBR up. But for Outside Your Comfort Zone, I'm going to read Docile by K.M. Sparza. So this has gotten a lot of heat on BookTube recently. It's very divisive in how people feel about it. This is in the future. I don't remember what year. I don't think it says a year. But it takes place in the future America, where if you're in debt, you can sell yourself into servitude to be a docile. And I know it's very confusing. So you can sell yourself into it to kind of pay your debt. And so then the person who takes you on as a servant or a slave pretty much is in control of you until your debt is paid. So this is the story about, is his name, there's 2 main characters, Alex and, it says Elisha, which is a man's name, a male. Oh, I think he goes by Eli. That's what it is. So Eli's family's in a lot of debt. His mother was a docile for many, many years, or I think that's what they call them. They call them dociles. Yeah, to be a docile. She was for many, many, many years, and then she just kind of lost her sense of self. She has now passed away. The dead is now passed on to her son, Eli. So he is going to, or maybe she hasn't passed away. Maybe she's just done being one, and so he's going to take her place. So his debt was bought by a man named Alex, who his family runs a pharmaceutical company who created the drug Dosaline, which is something that you give to a docile so that they will be compliant and pretty much do whatever they want, whatever you want, whatever. So the reason this is so polarizing is because of that, like the Dosaline, you're pretty much taking away somebody's will and their right to choose and all that kind of stuff. There is sex slavery to a degree in here. Like, I believe Eli becomes Alex's sex slave to a degree. From what I understand, it's not very graphic, but still, there's a lot of triggers in this and a lot of hard topics, and it's very touching on like the stuff going on in the world today with mounting debts and stuff like that. I thought it was interesting before everybody else has read it. Maddie from the Book Pusher read it, and she enjoyed it. She gave it 5 stars. She loved what the story did, but she can understand why so many people are hating it and why not many people are talking about it, because it's hard to talk about because it is so polarizing. But I wanted to read it anyways, and so once it was released, I bought it because, yes, it just seems interesting. It's different. It's not anything you've ever read before, but it's definitely outside my comfort zone. It's more of a contemporary-ish book, but I'm excited to get to it. So this is, again, for arithmancy, to read a book outside my comfort zone. The next is Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is a book set on the coast or sea. So for that, I actually get to tie in one of my booktube darlings, and I'm finally going to read Circe by Madeline Miller. I'm going to listen to this on audiobook, which I'm probably gonna have to buy it because the wait list, I think, at my library was 16 weeks or something, and this book came out like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, well, no, a year ago. No, 2 years ago, April 2018. It's been out for 2 years, and the waitlist is still long for the audio. And from what I understand from a lot of people, the audiobook is fantastic. It is so good. So I want to listen to it on audio, and I need an audiobook or two to help get me through all of these 12 books. So, yeah, I will be listening to this on audio. Everybody knows what Circe is about, I think. Circe is another Greek myth retelling. Madeline Miller wrote The Song of Achilles. Ooh, side cramp. Where the hell did that come from? What the? Ugh. Anyways, so she wrote The Song of Achilles, which I absolutely loved. It was a really beautiful retelling of Achilles and Patroclus and how their relationship was that you don't really get in the Greek myths. This is the retelling of Circe, and you know, I think she's just a blip in the Greek myths where you just hear about her a little bit, where this is her entire story. And I believe she's a siren, something to that effect, where she lives on an island. All these men come, you know, because she's a siren, whatever, something like that, or a nymph, one of those. I'm not sure. I love Greek mythology. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read this. Greek and Roman and Egyptian mythology are 3 of my favorite things. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read this. But this I'm finally going to get read. It's one of my booktube darlings. I only have 2 left after this. Next is History of Magic, and that is a book featuring witches or wizards, which that was harder than I thought. Thank God I went to the library, because for that I'm going to read The Furies by Katie Lowe, which I've already explained is in my library haul. Is it's an adult, I think, book about a group of girls who go to an all-girl boarding school, I believe in the 90s, who dabble in witchcraft. So they said it was the craft mixed with prep, which I think is a teenage, kind of like Gossip Girly like series from like the 90s. So this definitely has witches in it. So, and I started it, but I stopped. I'm like 12 pages in, it doesn't count. So I'll pick this up once April starts. But yeah, book with witches or wizards for History of Magic. And then the last book of the ones that I'm required to read to pass my OWLS to be a librarian is Transfiguration. Now, Transfiguration is to read a book that includes shape-shifting, which, do you know how many books don't include shape-shifting unless you really know what the story's about? And sometimes the shape-shifting part of a story is a twist or a surprise. Like, you know, unless somebody's actually mentioned it. So I was like, oh my God, so I went looking. I literally Googled books that include shape-shifting. And the first thing that came up was a book that's been suggested to me on Goodreads multiple times because I read True Blood, or not True Blood, the Suki Stackhouse series, which does include shape-shifting in it, but not until like midway. Well, no. I mean, you can count werewolves as shape-shifting, so I guess early enough in the series. I mean, I could have just started or kept going with my reread of that, but I wanted to do something new and not do a reread at all. So I picked, what is it called? Moon Called by Patricia Briggs, which I'll put picture here. I got the audiobook from my library because, you know, to buy a book now, even if I bought just the, you know, mass market paperback, it was like only $7, but it would take like till almost May to get here because of all of the COVID-19 crap. So I was like, fine. So I got the audiobook from my library. It's only like 290 pages, so it shouldn't take me long to get through. I think the audiobook, I think it said was like 4 hours, 5 hours. That won't take that. I could do that in a sitting. Like I can do that in one day. So this is like a long running supernatural paranormal fantasy romance series about a girl named Mercy who is a shapeshifter. She shapeshifts into a coyote, but was raised by a werewolf pack. So it's very much kind of a lot like the Sookie Stackhouse series, only a little different. She's a mechanic, I guess. Stuff starts happening. I guess this is like a 20-something book series. We'll see how it goes. I'm not expecting much. I don't think it's going to be some big new literary thing, but it does include shapeshifting. It's short and I can read it on audio. So that's going to be it for Transfiguration. But that is all for my librarian. So these will all be my priorities. I will read all of these first. Obviously, because I want to be able to pass the OWLS. Being my first time participating, I don't want to totally fail the OWLS. So these 5 will be the ones that I'll definitely read and get to. Some I might switch to audio if I have to. That's fine. But these are going to be the ones that I read, which I guess I should hold them up, shouldn't I? So these will all be the ones that I read to start the month. So if I can get these 5 read, then I will pick up the other 7 that I have picked for the other classes. So these shouldn't be too hard to get through, especially with reading a couple on audio. I mean, Docil's a pretty thick bitch, but from what I understand, it's a really quick read. So yeah, that is all I need to read to be a librarian. So now let's go into the other prompts for the other classes, and these will just be extra. So once I'm done with these, I will just pick these up based on mood. So next in line would be astronomy. So to read when it's dark. So for that one, I picked The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I already talked about this in my library haul. This is a young adult fantasy that is about some siblings whose parents have died. They run a graveyard. They're grave diggers, but they're zombies. The dead walk among them. They call them the Bone Houses. Don't know much more about it than that. Just that I've heard good things about it and that it's a really good story. So this is what I'll read in the dark for astronomy. Next is Care of Magical Creatures, which is a book with a beak on the cover, which was also very hard. I happened to find one on my TBR, and it's one I've had for a long time, and that's Storm Dancer by Jay Kristoff. Is that a griffin? That's a griffin right there. Griffins have beaks. So I believe that's a griffin. Yeah, eagle head, tiger bottom. Tiger lion bottom. So it's got a beak on the cover. This is one of his first series. I believe it's his first series, period. The Lotus War, I think it's, yeah, Lotus War book 1. So it is an Asian-inspired fantasy about a girl who, a girl and her dad, and there's something going on, and they have to capture the griffin. Like, it's like something for, I don't remember much about it. I remember reading the back and really wanting to read it, and it's Jay Kristoff, and I'll read anything that man writes. And I don't know why it's taken so long for me to read it. Oh yeah, there's a myth about the griffins, and they need it for some kind of medicine or something, I don't know, and she's a warrior. Sounds fun. Sounds Mia-esque. But it's the only book I have with a beak on the cover, so this will be for Care of Magical Creatures if I get this far. After that is Charms, which is read a book with a white cover, so that was easy. The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. This is as white as you can get. So this is a mystery story about a girl. It's just a single girl. Yeah, single girl. Her mom's kind of kooky. They live in this house that people thought have been haunted. She finds the people who used to live there's journals. Mystery ensues. I hear it's really good. Vicky said it was a really good book. So it definitely has white on the cover, so I'd read this for Charms. Next is Divination, which is assign numbers to your TBR and pick one at random. And I lucked out and it picked up Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I haven't hauled this one yet either. This was part of the 8 books that I bought that will hopefully be in a haul that I film soon. But this is book 2 in the Red Rising series. There is currently 5 books out with a 6th book coming. So there's the first trilogy and then the second trilogy, which takes place in the same world, has some of the same characters, but I believe Morningstar book 3 like fully ends this story, and then it kind of continues on with a whole new story and more characters and stuff in the other trilogy. But I've been meaning to get to this one. Not sure if I'm going to listen on audio, if I'm just going to read it physically. I mean, for how small this paperback is, it's 450 pages. So this is the story of Darrow, and it continues his story in this science fiction. It's our world, but very science fiction, to where Earth has decided to colonize and terraform all the other planets and stuff in the solar system. Darrow comes from Mars. Everybody in the society is color-coded by a certain color. The golds are the top and the reds are the bottom. Darrow is a red. He infiltrates the golds to try to take him down from the inside out. This is book 2 in this journey, so I'm excited to get back to it. I got Monica to read Red Rising. She got totally addicted and ordered Golden Sun and was waiting for it to get there. Don't know if she started it yet, but I need to read this anyways. I can't believe I waited this long to even buy it. So this will be the divination. So it happened to be randomly picked on my TBR, thank God, because I need to get to it. Next is Herbology, which is read a book that starts with the letter M. So another library book, Married Lovers by Jackie Collins. I think with this TBR, I've taken down all of my library books save for 3, which is great because I need to do that. If I'm going to check them out, I need to read them. This is a super trash-filled contemporary romance Hollywood. Takes place in Hollywood about people doing terrible, horrible things, drinking, smoking, doing drugs, cheating on each other. Complete trash read that I haven't read in a long time, and I kind of really need it right about now. So this will be for Herbology, book with the letter M. After that is Muggle Studies, which is to read a contemporary. And so for that, I'm going to read another library book, Tin Man by Sarah Winman. This is the story of 2 men and them reconnecting later in life. They were friends as boys, had a relationship, so it has a male-male romance. It was back in like 60s, I'm assuming 60s or 70s, couldn't be together. One grew up and got married, don't know where the other one is. This is about them. It's a very short read. It shouldn't be hard to get through. And then the last one is Potions, which is read a book that's 150 pages or less, which was a very difficult find. So I decided to pick up a graphic novel, and it's going to be a reread. I read, I think, the first 4 volumes in this, and then didn't pick it back up, which I don't understand because my library has all of them, and that's Lock and Key Volume 1 by Joe Hill and illustrated by, I can't remember, or the pictures on the screen. So Vicky just read these. I don't know if she reread them or they were her first time reading. Loved them. I remember the volumes that I read, absolutely loved. So I'm going to reread this one, and I just needed a book that was under 150 pages. And this is like exactly 150 pages. I got this book on Hoopla. Hoopla is great for graphic novels or comics. But yeah, that is my entire TBR. I feel like I was really rushing through this. I've got laundry in the dryer that I have to go get, and I'm trying to get everything done that I need to get done because today is Friday. It's my last day off, and then I start my work week tomorrow, and I'm working 6 days next week. My only day off next week is Thursday. There's 2 graveyards in that mix. It's a lot of hours. I'm really tired. So I just wanted to get this filmed so I can get it edited and up for you guys. But I'm excited to take part in the OWLS this year. I've thought about doing it the last couple years and just have never done it and never thought to. I mean, I figured with this year, with the 10 books I got from the library and being able to try to get audiobooks and being more into audiobooks now and getting stuff off from my library from Libby and Hoopla, that I could easily make it work. So we'll see how this goes. The main 5 to be a librarian are going to be my top priority. And then after that, I'm going to just pick the ones at random, which would help because if I decide I want to change careers once we get to the newts, whatever I have passed in my OWLS will help me once I get to the newts, because the rules are in your newts, you have to pass your OWLS in order to do your newts. And people take this very seriously. I mean, G doesn't regulate it. You can do whatever you want, but it's more fun if you follow the rules and do it the way you're supposed to. So I'm excited, and especially with everything going on in the world, this is a nice break. Like, try to get some of these books read and knock some shit off my TBR. it should be a fun time. Please let me know if you guys are going to participate in the OWLS. I think it would be so much fun if we did. Vicky, I got her to look at it. She's going to participate as well, so I'm really excited. Pretty sure Steph is going to participate. Cody usually does. I know Gavin's participating. There's a whole bunch of us across BookTube who are participating. So if you want to, I will have G's video link down below announcing the OWLS, and she's got every link you could possibly need in that in the description of that video. The career booklet, the letter that shows the prompts for all the classes, everything you could possibly know is in that video. She's amazing. She's put so much work into this read-a-thon. She just blows my mind. But that is it. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books. I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts on them. I know a lot of them I talked about already in my library haul, because a lot of these are library books, but there's a couple in here, like 2, 3 maybe, that were not in my library haul. But yeah, that's it. I guess I will see you guys in my March wrap up or my book haul. Not sure which one I'm gonna do next, but one of those. But either way, I'll see you guys later.